Hello, everyone. This is Monica Ramirez, Warrior of Love, and I'm very pleased to be here, sitting down with one of my teachers that have actually transformed my life and money wise, and you're gonna see why very very soon. And you're here. Please let us know where you are connecting from, and also at the same time. You're seeing the replay, please hashtag replay. We appreciate that very much. And well, I'm going to read a little bit about Janet. Janet Keys. She's an amazing person, an amazing human being. And Janet is a soulful money coach, inspirational speaker, author, and certified yoga teacher. She has also spent 5 years working with the financial service industry. Janet facilitates educational money mindset workshops, group training, and one-on-one private coachings about mastering the physical and emotional aspects of the money. Janet's mission is to inspire leaders to align with their inner abundance, healthy self-esteem, and power so they can step into the dream life they can live the worthy living. And if you want some more information about her, and we're finished, and she have also I tag in there in the description a little gift that she have for you guys. And well, thank you for being here, Janet. I
Yeah,
really appreciate it.
thank you. Thank you for inviting me to be your guest speaker for tonight. And I'm honored to be here with you, Monica. Thank you.
No, it's my pleasure, really my pleasure. Like I mentioned before, I have taken one of her classes, and it really changed my mind settings on how do I see money, and it just shifted completely. And if you're interested in that, you're gonna hear why, and you should actually sign up in her classes. I really highly recommend her, just just to start that. And well, Janet, let's get into the horse. Well, Janet, then I was inspired to you to change your mindset when you start all this because you were in the financial working with the financial, and you could go into either way, more into banking or more into any other settings,
Yeah.
but you decide to become a coach to transform the mind settings of people, and it has to have a beginning in you.
Yeah.
Where that one started.
Yeah. Honestly, Monica, I was intuitively led here. And I had a career in the banking industry. So I worked in a corporate environment and I left that role because inside I wanted something bigger, or I wanted something more. And while I was in that role, I just felt something more that was calling me. And I left that world and stepped into a self employment world, but it was in insurance, so life insurance. And I was in that world for a period of time, and I really felt a calling to talk to women. Inside, I was excited to educate women around finances. And it just so happens that prosperous woman coaching came along the way. There was a number of things that happened along the way, and a prosperous woman is a woman who is expanding, growing in the areas of mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, financial well-being. So, you're doing the work, you're aligning, you're expanding, growing in that area. You are a prosperous woman. And so, with my desire to want to speak to people, there was a time when I was on a stage with other women, and the topic was money. And one of the ladies had mentioned that money was energy. And for me, it was as if spoke directly to my soul, and I immediately went inward and I understood energy. As a yoga teacher for many years, as a yoga student, I understood energy. I understood, as someone who's received healing, I understood energy in that way. And what I didn't understand was the energy of money. And so from that moment, I dug in deeper into, money story, and we'll probably talk a little bit more about that. But on the way of, being employed in the insurance industry, there was a number of intuitive things that happened along the way that led me to more of a coaching role versus, and it's very similar because I'm still advising. It's more of a fee for service and a coaching realm. And with coaching, it opened the door for more possibilities, like less corporate restrictions, let's say, for me to, having a book that's coming out and speaking. It's more freedom for me to be, do, and have what it is that I'm called to do.
Yeah. But where does you started with your money story? Because we all have that story.
Yeah.
Where did that
Yeah.
start with you?
So that started with me right after I heard the words that money was energy. I was happy and prosperous in all areas of my life, and I was not happy in my money relationship. Now, I had come from a banking environment, so I knew all the physical aspects of money. While I was in that world, I had a pension, I had savings, I had no debt, and yet I was never happy in my relationship. I would look at my bank account, I would criticize and judge myself. I would judge my level of success by the amount of money that was in my bank account. There was never enough, and I was always striving for higher financial goals. So it was like I was always chasing that moving money target. And so when I heard that money was energy, I delved into find out what that was. The first training that I come across was with a gal named Christine Lucan, and she's the financial lifeguard. So it was more around the emotional management of money, which I totally understand. What we think about is how we feel. How we feel is what we do about in life. So really digging into the emotional aspects around money. But as I kept going deeper, and I looked at my own money story, and that was how I grew up, how I came into the world. And I answered some questions, of course, that brought me to discover a common theme that was playing out in my life. And here's like a little analogy of, I came into the world, I was placed up for adoption twice. The first 7 days when I was born, I was placed in a room for someone to adopt me. And then again 3 months later. Now, my mom did keep me upon the approval of her dad. And several years later, my dad was diagnosed with a severe mental illness. And I grew up in an environment that didn't know how to express love easily, violence, abuse, and addiction. So a common theme for me was that there was never enough and I was not enough. So that was my money story, had a deep rooted belief. And even though I did a lot of healing work over the years, it started when I was 25 years old. I did a lot of healing work and I did feel worthy. I was in a place where I loved myself, but this went on a deeper level and it showed up in my money relationship, or was mirrored to me in my money relationship. So that was the first start of discovering what my money story was. And it's so interesting. And I would encourage everybody to explore what their money story is, because it's a part of our blueprint, right? Our money blueprint is how we grew up. What did we see? What did we hear around money? What did we experience? Was money a source of joy, or was money a source of conflict?
And something that fascinates me about the gift that you guys can go and check it out is about the archetypes.
Mm.
And that was really, really on point. Where did you got with the idea? How did they were born?
Yeah, so that was the second training that I took with Kendall Summerhawk, and it was Sacred Money Archetypes. And I got certified as a coach, and literally the archetypes they tell us about who we are. So they're patterns of what motivates us, what our fears are, what our courages are. They tell us about what our gifts are, what our talents, but also our challenges. So our challenges are, the shadow side of self, or in life and in business, challenges and fears are inevitable. So knowing how to move through them is so, so important. So archetypes are, they're, they make up our personality, who we are. So in relationship to money, there's 8 different money archetypes. So um, I'll share a little bit about each one individually, so you'll get an idea of like who they are. So the archetypes tell us about who we are, and they're here to teach us, or to bring us into alignment to our higher selves, bring us into alignment with the truth of who we are. So, on a soul level and on a personality level, it really connects those pieces. And I mentioned earlier about always chasing a moving money target, and always striving for higher financial goals, at the same time not being satisfied, and there was fear behind that striving. That's a ruler archetype. A ruler archetype is someone who, they're here to build an empire, and they have a high desire to achieve, and those are very important qualities, and that's one of my archetypes. And over the years, that archetype led me to, being where I am today. If I wouldn't have changed a lot of things and delved into personal development if that archetype wasn't so strong within me. And so one of the beliefs that I had bought into for many years was, well, there must be something wrong with me, because I was never satisfied with, how things were. And, having a dad that had a mental illness, that belief of there's something wrong with me was incorrect. There was never anything wrong with me. But you could see where beliefs can play out in your role. So archetypes are here. They will the quiz, the gift that you talk about, is the Sacred Money Archetype Personality Quiz. So it's a money quiz. If you have ever taken a personality assessment, this literally will tell you about who you are. And you mentioned that they are accurate, and they were accurate for you in, this is who you are and what you needed to see about yourself, so that you can come into alignment and even identify those negative beliefs that weren't supporting you in your money relationship.
Because we have also the mindset that which people can earn money and which people should not earn money. Yeah. And that is completely wrong, because we all have to pay bills. It doesn't matter what you have chose to do with your life and passion you. Like I am an artist, and I am a healer, and I am a coach, and so forth. But also that deserve to be making money. But if we go into the same archetypes, there were a lot of limits that I was needing to remove. There were a lot of limited beliefs that are actually that you were raised with them. The society have put it on you, and you actually believe it. And you're trying to say, oh, the law of attraction doesn't work. It was not the law of attraction. It was also it was my own beliefs that it was getting me stuck.
Yeah.
And that's why it was, for me, it was a eye opener when I took your class, because in a way I did saw that, oh my God, I have all these limiting beliefs. And that was very, very important. But I do wanted to ask you, the models, they were just very on point and very, very, very insightful when I took your class. And where did they were born? Did you write it down, or it was from this certification?
Yes,
Or
absolutely. Yeah, it's from the certification that I took with the Sacred Money Archetypes to become a certified coach. Absolutely. So I love structure, and absolutely. So each module is designed to go in for you to discover what those limiting unconscious beliefs are, because we're not even aware of them. And it asks specific questions so that, you're able to, I incorporate, as you know, intuitive meditation and grounding, so that when you're doing this work, you're going in, you're doing the deeper work, so that it can be revealed to you. Your unconscious can reveal to you what it is that you need to see by asking you the particular questions. And, awareness is key, right? When you're able to see it, what the past experience was, or what it is that you're doing now, whether it's in your language or in your thinking, so that you can identify it. Once you identify it, you can release it and then move forward. So it's designed very, very beautifully to go in, ask specific questions, get to the core, the root of the problem. And then, as we get towards the end, bringing you into alignment. It's always about alignment, right? You mentioned the law of attraction, and that's, we're thinking, right? Our conscious mind, we're thinking about what it is that we want. We're thinking, in a positive manner. And at the same time, here's our desire. So that's what we want. And we have to take the action to move forward to get to what it is that we want. But inside, if we have a belief system that thinks I'm not good enough, or I'm not worthy, right? Or, there must be something wrong with me. Those types of belief systems can really provide a block or a gap in your own energetic system in moving forward to accomplishing it.
It was like when I talked to you the first time about this, I told you, well, I am a belief coach, and I've been working insatiable with NLP, with all the models of NLP, with BQH, hypnotherapy, in all the medias about my limiting beliefs about money. And I was still stuck. I was still feeling the poor me. I was still feeling that even if I have worked for years about my limiting beliefs, I was still feeling stuck in there. Until
Yeah.
actually it was a shifter. It was something way deeper that I could not see it. In fact,
Yeah.
even if I was working and working and working, but it was working with the same thing. It's like hitting the same stone with the same feather.
Yeah.
It's like I
Yeah.
was not gonna do anything about it
Yeah.
until I actually got to your class.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's very specific to our money relationship, right?
Mhm.
And we all have a relationship with money, and maybe we're not maybe some of you are not conscious of that yet. Like, there's a lot of women that come to me that say, I didn't even know I had a relationship with money. We do, though. We have feelings, we have emotions. Money is a very important aspect of our lives, and there can be a lot of emotions when it comes to money, and oftentimes emotions will win over logic, right? It's like, you might have, I'll use shoes for example. I'm not a shoes person, but someone might have a whole lot of shoes, and yet if they feel like they want another pair, they're going to buy it, right? So emotions will always win over logic, and our emotions around money can teach us how free we really are. So there's I come to believe is our money blueprint is connected to our divine blueprint as well, and our money relationship can really teach us a lot about who we are. And you mentioned how you did take training in other modalities around other beliefs, but this is specifically to money relationship, and going in and clearing out the
Yes,
things that need to get cleared.
but at the same time, everything is you don't feel worthy, even to obtain good things in life, or to be successful, or to be prosper, or whatever. You're gonna go back and you're gonna go down because people are afraid even to say the word money,
Yeah.
or this is how much this is how much my class is gonna cost,
Yeah.
because I can't value myself enough.
Yeah.
So everything is actually go hand by hand. It's not about, yes, this your class is about money, but money, like you mentioned before, is about energy. And if
Yeah.
you're not valuing yourself enough, and you're not loving yourself enough, so how do you expect others even value you if you're
Yeah.
not valuing yourself? How you're gonna put a price to anything that you can do?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a game changer completely.
Yeah.
It's a game.
Absolutely. Yeah. And if you look at our energetic system, just to bring in a little bit of yoga background, we have our chakras, which is our energetic systems within our bodies. And our root chakra is the right to be here, the right to have. And the element, the demon element here would be fear. And so when you're working in the lower chakras, there's the sacral, which is your emotions, right? Your right to have pleasure, your right to feel. And then the third one is your solar plexus. So that's your, self-esteem and will. Like, so if I have issues in my lower chakras, my energy is not, I'm not whole, right? I don't feel whole. So, is everything in alignment? Am I clear? Am I feeling whole? If I'm not, there's some gaps in our system. And so it'll show up in our money relationship as well. So when you mentioned how, talking about selling your courses, or you're in business and you're talking about the money and you're uncomfortable with that, here's your self-esteem. Am I lacking confidence to show up confidently in my business? And are there some other issues within the body that I need to deal with? And it'll really show up in your money relationship, which is quite fascinating.
Yeah. I do. I wanted to ask you. I have never asked you this. Are you a channeler?
Yeah, I do receive information. Absolutely. Absolutely. And when I come into our sessions, whether it's one-on-one or a group of people, I'm always open to receive. And here's a big thing for a lot of women of the nurturer archetype. They will give at the sacrifice of themselves. And a lot of the times, the nurturer archetype will arrive in a place where it's like, who am I? Who am I? Because they've given so much away to others. And so finding clear boundaries in money, but clear boundaries in life, so that they can show up and be confident in what it is that they're doing and moving forward.
Because the tendency of the human beings is to be people pleasers. Because that's
Mm,
what they teach us since we were like
yeah,
little kids.
yeah,
And that you
absolutely.
have to say yes, even if you want to say no.
Yes,
And
yeah,
that creates a big problem when you're an adult.
absolutely. And being open to receive. So here it is, when you're giving, and you're not open to receive, right? Here's, I'm not open to receive. So
Mhm.
this can happen a lot when you're not in alignment or you're not clear within yourself, and it can actually hinder a lot of people from getting what it is that they want, because they're not clear channels to receive information, to receive, here's our intuition, which is the divine God spirit speaking through us. And are we going to take inspired action and say yes, or are we going to say no because of fear or lack of self-esteem or confidence?
Or yeah, or fear that a lot of the fear comes from they're gonna reject me, they're not gonna love me, or
Yeah,
they're gonna push me in the side because I say no. So
yeah,
they don't put boundaries.
absolutely. Absolutely. And here's our emotional states. Are we in a place of love, or are we in a place of fear? Right? And fear, love, we know, is a high vibrational energy, right? When we are in that state, we feel it. We glow, we feel empowered, we feel inspired, creative, intuitive. This is when we're unstoppable. We're in that sweet spot, that sweet zone of life. And then fear of rejection, fear of responsibility, fear of approval, fear of, um, there's so many fears, right? And then there's the emotions of shame, blame, guilt,
Mhm.
that when we're over in that lane, emotionally, it can feel really hard. It can feel really hard. And, we don't have control over the external circumstances, right? Life is bringing a lot of people a lot of challenges right now, and we don't have control over the external. The biggest thing we have control over is ourselves, how we think, what I think, what I think about is what I feel about is what I do about, right? So the only thing I have control over is me, and doing my own inner work, or taking action, right action.
That's the only person I can change is myself.
Yeah,
I can't change anybody else except
yeah, yeah,
and that's where people get confused. I'm going to
Absolutely.
change these people. I'm going to change my mate. I'm going to change my family when we can't. Not
That's
even
right.
our kids we can change.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah.
I remember in one of the classes, I don't remember which model was, but it was amazing. That that we did a meditation with the money and we connect with the money.
Mm,
And I started channeling the money and I started putting the shoes of the money.
mm,
And that was so incredible if you because I saw it like a being.
yeah.
I don't saw it like a something external.
Mhm,
That well that it was something bad or nothing like that. I saw it like a being, and
mm,
that it have emotions and feelings and so forth. I know this is sounds probably incredible for many of you, but this
mhm.
is how I experienced that meditation.
Yeah.
And that was a game changer. That it wanted to be honored, it wanted to be listened, it wanted to be
Yeah.
respected. And in the
Yeah.
moment I changed that shift, and something shifted inside of me. In the
Yeah.
moment I started observing the money.
Yeah. Yeah. And, so many people, Monica, are disconnected in their relationship with money. As one, is like, do we even know that we have a relationship? And two, they're disconnected in a way that honors them, that honors their value. And a lot of the times people are overwhelmed with negative thinking around money, right? Negative thinking, negative feelings, and it's not serving them.
Mhm. Yes.
Yeah. So I love how you connected, for you it was like opening the pathways,
Yeah.
right? You sat down you showed up to do this work around money, and you started to clear some pathways so that you can now look at money in a different light. And it's really, how we see ourselves, right? If I don't value money, chances are I'm not valuing myself. If I don't have respect for money and I spend it in ways that doesn't support my highest and greatest good, well, chances are I'm not respecting me, right? um if I don't use money or view it in a compassion and caring way, then chances are I'm not empowering myself in that way either. So there's so many, it can literally mirror for us what it is that we need to see about ourselves, the qualities that we are disowning, right?
Not only that, the people, the majority, or I used to even myself, think that, oh, I can change. If I just have to work harder and harder, I will
Mm,
have more money, because I was trying to change it from outside.
yeah,
And when the change has to go inside, you
yeah.
can change anything. It's not only money, anything.
Absolutely. Absolutely. One of the biggest things, one of the greatest, I mean, I know you've picked up some really important lessons about, where you were playing a victim, and you identified those things, which is so important. And one of the biggest ones for me was self-approval. Self-approval was a big one for me to recognize because I looked for approval from others, most of my life. And so money really made me look at and approve. Here I am, a female entrepreneur in business, and, moving from a corporate world into self-employment world, and the corporate world, banking world, came back midway and asked me to come back. And, here was, we have a pandemic going on, and I had the opportunity to return to the bank, and my husband wanted me to. And so for me it was, what do I want? And when I sat with it, I took time to contemplate. I didn't just rush into it because my I respect my husband and he's important to me. And I sat in it and I asked, where is it that I see myself, right? As a speaker, as an author, as a coach, and this is where I seen myself. I didn't see myself returning to the bank. And so he didn't approve, and he wanted me to, return to that world because that was secure, at that time. And for me, I can't recall one of the lessons, but it was self-approval. And it was like at that moment, that shift inside me was, I approve of me. This is where I'm being called. And I think a lot of the times in relationship, when you're in a partnership, a lot of the times we could say no. even though we want to say yes just because that's what our spouse wants for us. So that can be a little bit tricky, but it's so important as an individual for me to honor me. So self-approval was one of the biggest lessons the archetype taught me. And then around the challenges of secrecy, not trusting, all of these things. You mentioned how we don't talk about money, right? When some of you might have grown up with that. It's like, it's not polite to ask, to talk about money, or more often than not, couples are more likely to go to bed together before they would have money conversations. So, there's all of these things around money where it's got to be hidden or a secret, and it's not open, free, and flowing, which is what we want in our lives.
I'm going to touch a point that I might get slashed by this one, but a lot of in the conspiracy theory, that is the spiritual community, they have this mindset that if they rich people are the bad ones, they're the diabolic ones, they're the ones, the bad ones, basically, because they have money, and they're always complaining about that they don't have money. But because they're always seeing people with money like they're the bad ones, and all this, they're the controlling us. But they don't want to get out of wherever they are in the moment, in the situation with money, how they see money. They see as a bad
Mhm.
thing, having money. So how
Yeah.
they're gonna one day be free of the bad ones that they
Mhm.
in the jobs.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, definitely, freedom. Freedom is, being able to do what you want, when you want, how you want to do it, and whom you want to do it with. Is like there's no restrictions on me. And when it comes to our money, and I talk about how our emotions can teach us how free we really are. Well, it really comes down to how free are you, when you receive an intuitive message. You receive the hit, and this is the soul calling you. This is spirit, right? Moving you forward. Are you free to say yes? Or are there fears? Are there the emotions that are in the way? And it doesn't matter, if it doesn't matter the amount of money that you have, it's all, am I free? Am I free to be of service?
And like I tell my students all the time, whatever you fear, that's what you're gonna attract.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you're gonna reject it, you're just gonna attract it like a
Yeah.
magnet.
Yeah. And fear is okay. Like, fear is a normal part of our lives, and our fears can really help us grow if
Mm.
we look at them, right? More often than not, when it comes to money, fear, struggle, stress, people want to avoid it, right? But look at it, move into it, um, face it so that you can see what is the challenge and how can I grow and what is it that I need to learn here. Because often our patterns will repeat itself over and over again until we get the lesson, and we can only do that by facing up to it, right? Looking at it, moving through it, coming back over into the lane of love, higher vibration of self.
And at the same time, whatever we judge is, we should observe why we're judging that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's put it like that, the elite or whatever they want to call them. Why? Because you're judging them so hard. Is why? Because you feel inferior, or
Mm-hmm.
because you're fear to actually be successful.
Yeah.
And do you fear your will change,
Yeah.
or the unknown? That's why we're judged,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, well, ultimately, we're responsible for us, and we're accountable for our own growth in this journey, right? Now, our actions, yes, there's a cause and effect, so it does have a play on other people that's in our role, it's in our lives as well. Um, so,
yeah,
yeah.
I I start asking this question to a lot of my speakers, because I do had that questions at the beginning, that it was like if they were master manifestors.
Mhm.
But I can't think in the best person I can ask this question. Are you a
Mhm.
master manifestor?
A master manifester. I never heard it like that. Have I manifested things in my life? Absolutely. I look at my world, and there was a time when I would regret and question and doubt. And my desires in life have come true. My desires were to be happy, to have healthy relationships, and for freedom. And other things, like I live in my dream home. I have my husband, who is my dream mate. I always wanted a happy, healthy relationship that was passionate, but I had to find those things within myself first. I always say I would have never attracted him had I not done the inner work first. And so all of my dreams have come true in my life. Now there's still some other ones that are still about to come true with my book and speaking and growing. There's timing in everything, right? And it's, what are your desires? My desires were, they were from up above. They were those seeds. And then, the other little elements, those were mine, that they came true. And then the freedom part really came when I dug into my money relationship and got to understand it on a whole nother deeper level. So there's a whole different exchange of money.
I I know many people get confused with abundance, and I do a lot of affirmations.
Mm.
Right, I am abundant, and so forth. That's my rituals in the morning: prosper, successful, and
Yeah.
happy, loved, or whatever. But but abundance and having money, that's two separate things. It's not the same necessarily. Abundance
Mm.
not necessarily has to do only with money.
Yeah. It has a lot to do with many things, right? Abundance in mindset, abundance in health, abundance in wealth, abundance in friendships, abundance in family. It can be so many things. And our enlightened net worth, what we are worth. It's what I always equate it to. Abundance is our birthright. That's who we are, right? It's like, if I were to ask you to sell me two of your eyes for $1 million today, would you?
No,
Right?
right?
And if you were to take an analysis of what you're physically, what you're worth, your brain, your heart, your organs, and then your talents, your gifts, your artistry, your creativeness. If you were to do an analysis to what is your enlightened net worth, can you put a price tag on it?
Well, conscious people will not do that.
Mm-hmm.
Many people are not really conscious, or for them money is the only thing because that's their goal. It's like working and working and working
Mm-hmm.
24 hours. It applies them for the same. They will say yes.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, they will say yes, thinking that that money will last them long enough to live a happy life. But if they don't have eyes because they sold them, and the kidneys
Mm-hmm.
or the liver or whatever,
Yeah.
are they going to be happy missing all
Mm.
that in the health?
Yeah. But I think the whole point is, like, you wouldn't sell them for $1 million. Like, you just wouldn't, right? Because you are worth so much. You are priceless beyond measure. And you're focusing on your net worth in the world, like building your savings, buying your house, which those are all important too. Like, I don't get me wrong, those are important things. It's just when the external focus is on the outward and not on the inward, and not seeing what your worth is. Like, you are already abundant. Like, you are creating from this abundant space. But it's more than thinking it. You got to feel it. Like, inside, I feel my worth. I feel my value. I know it. I know I'm here to do good things and create positive change. And there is the inner shift, right? So if you're not feeling that, it's like, you got to dig a little bit deeper. And doing the inner work, it's not always easy. It is not always easy. And it will challenge you, and it will grow you. And it's like the person you are becoming, and who I've become today compared to other paths that I could have taken. I'm so glad I did the inner work, and I'm honored to be able to work with women to so they can heal their money wounds, so that they can come into a place of wholeness aligned to their gifts and talents.
I have a question. Why only women, or do you work with men too?
Yeah, I have, you know what, a few brave men who will reach out and take the archetypal assessment, and I'll do a reading for them. And no doubt, men have the same. Men have fears as well as women. It just women seems to be my natural market. I divorced in 2009, and financial freedom was my third desire that I was moving towards, and it was just naturally that I work with women, and I am dealing around the emotions and the spiritual aspects when it comes to the archetypes, and but absolutely the door is open for some brave men who would want to dip into this arena. And I even changed my title of the Awaken Your Inner Financial Goddess course. It was goddess, and I dropped it and I put power, because
Yes.
it is about tapping into the power that is within you. And if you're not feeling that, you're not embracing that, you're not embodied that yet, and creating from that space, because you're always creating, right? Always creating from a place of the limitations, the stories of the past, or now, today, from this abundant place.
And I want to think that the world is changing and the men are starting to let themselves feel, because it's
Mm.
a matter of choice and letting yourself feel.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
that's
that's
a big thing. Now, my husband, he was in the RCMP for many years, and he's like, "I'm not your client." And I'm like, "That's okay. You don't have to be my client," and that is totally okay. So the door is open for some that would want to come in, and it is looking at your emotions, and your emotions. They'll teach you how free you really are, and our emotions. When our emotions aren't expressed freely, they can create other issues, dis-ease in our bodies and things like that. And our emotions are, when it comes to our chakras, our emotions, or our chakras are the gateway, to higher parts of self. Our emotions are also the gateway to higher parts of self. Because where are we? Fear or love, right?
and that's the creative part, our emotions. See, we actually, I teach how to connect your heart with your brain, and you have to feel it. And there's
Yes.
even a university in California about the heart.
Yeah.
It's the biggest brain that we have. And this is not only my idea, this is a scientifically already that they're
Yeah.
studying in California about this. It's an
Yeah.
university studying
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, and here's in the chakras, the heart is the bridge, right, between the higher chakras and the lower chakras. So,
Yes.
yeah.
How long you been teaching this class?
The Awaken Your Inner Financial Power.
Yes.
Let's see, where are we? I believe, Monica, it was last fall is when I stepped in full time. August of last year, I stepped in full with the archetypes. I was coaching before, but the archetypes specifically, August of last year.
And do you still do yoga or teach yoga?
Yeah. So you know what, that's a funny thing, because I do teach yoga. It's just in a different way, right? I teach breath. I teach meditation. I do incorporate some postures, like some movement in your body, because movement is important, right? I have a daily practice myself, but I don't teach it as much. Now I have retreats coming up this summer where I will be teaching yoga. It's more of a slower form to get grounded in your body, and to get connected
Hmm.
within self. Yeah.
I have encountered that at the beginning it was very tough for me to mix between my art and my coaching, that I felt like they're totally separate. But no, they have to be together, because our
Hmm.
creative side is the one that creates
Yeah.
our reality. And if
Yeah.
we're blocking that part of our creative side, how you're gonna
Yeah.
create a new life?
Yeah.
So that was
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I'm super excited of all the things that I've learned, the physical management of money, the emotional management, the yoga, I like to say I work with money on the three levels: the physical, emotional, and the spiritual realm. And the archetypes it's a very powerful way of aligning to your truth and teaching you how to move into your gifts and talents, and how to consciously move through the challenges, the shadow parts of yourself.
If someone wants to register with you in your classes, what are the steps they have to go through?
Yeah. So the Sacred Money Archetype assessment will be posted here. So that's a free assessment. So by all means, do that. And then the Awaken Your Inner Financial Power course, that's coming up. I have a live group training that's starting April the 26th on Monday at 6:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So you can message me, and if you seen about the program through Monica, let me know. Hey, I've I've heard about you on Monica's Soul Talk, and I want to be a part of the program. So by all means, message. My website is janetkey.com. So KEY is the last name, JANET. So super easy. We can even post the link if there is a spot for that, so that people can register for the
I
next group training.
It is in the description on your website.
Oh, awesome.
I did
Yeah.
put that one too.
Awesome. It's there. That's where you will find it. And if you have any questions, message me. Absolutely.
You mentioned that that was live. You're going to be doing it in person, or you're going to be doing it online like I took it?
Just like you took it. Yeah. And I did it that way on purpose, Monica, because one, you get to learn, in different ways, but it also gives a room for a little more people in the group.
Yes.
So it's like a self-study and come together, work together type of session. It's awesome.
Yes, it was a challenge starting the 2020, adapting completely our classes to do it online. How do you manage that? Do you how do you did it in the 2020? Do you learn how to do it online? Do you do it better, or?
Yeah, I learned. I was not online either, and I learned how to do that. I work with women one-on-one and in group sessions. So my group started 2 or 3 people at first, and I believe in our last group training, because I added a self-study component, there was 5 people in that group training. So I learned as I went along, and I just, as I took training, I did the work. So I just practiced and did it.
Yes, and we remove what it don't work, and we put what it was needing. Yes, it's been adapting and changing and shifting.
Yeah,
I can
absolutely.
see that.
Yeah.
Then your next class is gonna be in April 24?
April 26th, Monday evenings.
Okay. So if anyone is interested to register in Janet classes, I will really, really recommend it. It will shift your way how you observe money.
Yeah.
And you actually want to work smart and not hard. I will recommend you this class.
Yeah, more of a flow, grace and ease. My ruler archetype, the empowering money mindset mantra is to empower prosperity and leadership with grace and ease. So that's getting more in the flow, right? Less resistance, move through fears and come into alignment.
Do you want to add something else, any information else? You want to talk about the archetypes, or you want to add
Yeah,
something?
well, we've probably been here talking long enough, but the archetypal assessment, you guys, it's a free assessment, and you'll want to know who your top 3 archetypes are, and you'll learn a lot from them. You'll learn, again, your gifts, your talents, and also your fears, your challenges. Is like, when are you in that challenge zone, and how can you move through it? So there's a lot of great information waiting for you.
Like for me, was the connector, the alchemist, and the maverick.
Mm-hmm.
And it really, really helped me a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Understand, because those are issues that I have to work on, or things that I have to bring on.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. And we no matter where you are, we are always working and growing, right? There's that saying, if you're not growing, you're dying. And there's so much to learn about yourself and the archetype is a powerful tool to help you in self-awareness and emotional mastery. And those are two important things: know thyself and emotional mastery. So important. Yeah.
Janet, thank you so much. I really, really
Yeah.
appreciate it that you
You're
jumped
welcome.
in and
Thank
that
you.
this conversation with you. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank
And
you.
guys, don't miss this class because it will transform your life. Not
Mm.
only money wise, I'm talking about emotionally wise, in your beliefs, in your personal.
Yeah.
How do you observe yourself? How do you observe money?
Mhm.
It will really, really change your life. It have changed mine. So I would really recommend that. And I just wanted to, again, if you're seeing the replay, just click replay. If you have any
Yeah.
questions, just uh, just put it in the comments, even if you see in the replay later on. So Janet or me, we can answer them, or I can
Yeah.
directly react with her. And I just wanted to announce who's going to be our next conversation that we're having the next Monday, the 19th. It's going to be with Regina Bergen. She's an amazing friend and such a loving being. I
She
really love
is.
her. I
Yeah.
really love her. She's a founder of Creative Woman Empowerment Together to help women become happier and more empowered. She is also an astrologist and an amazing healer in the Flower of Life that she have done a healing with me. I have done with her, and it was amazing. It was really, really also transformative. So, guys, don't miss it. And it's going to be a great conversation. And let's see whether she wants to talk with us the next Monday. Well, I will see you all.
Bye, everyone. Thank
Thank
you.
thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Bye bye.
Bye.